இனிமே கண்ணை மூடிட்டு கடலை எண்ணெய் வாங்கலாம். ஏன்னா மந்த்ரா கடலை எண்ணெய் இதயத்தின் தயாரிப்பு.
Justice A.D. Jagdish Chandra, Judge, Madras High Court, Committee Judge, Tamil Nadu State Legal Services Authority, to deliver the welcome address.
All glory to God. Good morning to you all. On behalf of the chairman and members of the Legal Services Authorities of State of Tamil Nadu and the Union Territory of Puducherry, I deem it an honor and privilege to stand before this august gathering to welcome you all to the inauguration function of Volunteer Senior Advocates Panel for the Legal Services Authority, releasing the bilingual NALSA Legal Services Directory for the Differently Abled Children Scheme 2021 and the Directory of the Legal Services for Social Welfare Schemes. The Tamil Nadu Legal Services Authority was established under the Legal Services Act 1987 with a mandate to provide free and competent legal services to the underprivileged and the disadvantaged sections of the society to ensure that opportunity to securing justice are not denied to any citizen by reason of economic or other disabilities, and to secure that the operation of the legal system promotes justice on the basis of equal opportunity to all. American Judge Honorable Tanny Gore said, quote, pro bono publico, for the public good, is not just in the sense of professional work undertaken voluntarily and without payment, but in the sense of a public service to those who are unable to afford the services of skilled professionals. It is a noble and necessary calling for all attorneys, unquote. As a noble and necessary calling, the esteemed members of the Senior Advocates Forum of Madras High Court have volunteered and given their commitment to offer their services to the litigants referred through the Legal Services Authority. It is indeed a great day and a milestone in the history of the Legal Services Authority. Thank you, sirs. Today, as you have gathered here, it's our pleasure and privilege to welcome Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, Judge, Supreme Court of India, and who is also the Executive Chairman of the National Legal Services Authority to the function. His Lordship, a legal luminary, has graced our Madras High Court as its Chief Justice during the period between July 2014 and February 2017. His legacy, marked by dedication and vision, has left an indelible mark on our judicial landscape. His Lordship's leadership saw advancements in technology, modernizing our web presence and making justice more accessible to all. His unwavering dedication to alternate disputes resolution mechanisms has expedited the delivery of justice. After his Lordship assumed charge as the Executive Chairman of NALSA, region-wise meetings were conducted on the main topic, enhancing access to justice. Recently, the 19th All India Meet for Legal Services Institutions was organized by NALSA under the guidance of his Lordship at Srinagar, Jammu and Kashmir, where the important issue deliberated was the plight of poor under-trial prisoners, and his Lordship also stressed on their release on bail and to improve conditions in jail and training them in skill development for their rehabilitation through social reintegration. It is our honor and privilege to welcome you, Lordship. It's our pleasure to welcome Honorable Justice M.M. Sundaresh, Judge, Supreme Court of India, and member of the NALSA Committee. We celebrate the remarkable journey of his Lordship from the bar to the Madras High Court and later his elevation to the Supreme Court of India. His elevation is a testament to his legal acumen and dedication to the principles of justice. His Lordship's steadfast commitment and dedication to judiciary is reflected in the judgments rendered by him. His Lordship's concern for the poor illiterate prisoners and women under trial prisoners languishing in jail along with children for a long period is expressed in the judgment Satyendra Kumar until versus CBI, which he penned while sitting along with Lordship Justice Cowell. His Lordship stands as an inspiration to all of us. We welcome you, Lordship, our own Anna. Our privilege to welcome Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjay V. Gangapurwala, our Chief Justice and Patron-in-Chief of the Tamil Nadu State Legal Services Authority. His Lordship took charge as the Chief Justice of this court on the 29th May 2023. Our Chief's illustrious career, his warm and pleasant and gracious leadership is an asset to our High Court. Like his dedication and commitment to justice delivery, his enthusiasm in sports and games has also been an inspiration to many of us, sir. We have the pleasure in welcome you, Lordship. I now welcome Honorable Justice Mr. S. Vaidyanathan, the Executive Chairman of the Tamil Nadu State Legal Services Authority. Under his guidance, the State Legal Services Authority is doing well. Honorable Justice Mr. R. Mahadevan, Executive Chairman of the Legal Services Authority of Union Territory of Puducherry. Honorable Justice D. Krishna Kumar, Chairman, High Court Legal Services Committee. Committee members of the Legal Services Authority. Brother Dandamani was come here to deliver the thank you address, and the honorable sister and brother judges of this court who are present here and also watching this function virtually. We welcome the learned Advocate General, the Public Prosecutor, Government Pleader, law officers of the state and central government and Union Territory of Puducherry, Member Secretary of NALSA, Member Secretary TNSLA, Judicial Officers, Mr. P.S. Raman, Convener of the Senior Advocates Forum, Senior Advocates, and especially those of you who have volunteered to offer your valuable services to the Legal Services Authority, members of the Bar Council, leaders and members of various bar associations, registrars, officers and staff members of the High Court and the Legal Services Authority, members of the print and visual media, and finally, the stakeholders, the general public for whose benefit the program has been conducted, and ladies and gentlemen. May our collective efforts continue to shine as a beacon of hope for those who seek justice, and may the principles of fairness, equality, and inclusivity forever be the guiding light for our pursuit of justice for those in need. Thank you.
Thank you, my lord. We will now proceed to honor the dignitaries. I request Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjay V. Gangapurwala, Chief Justice, Madras High Court, to honor Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, Judge, Supreme Court of India, with a memento. Thank you, my lord. Honorable Mr. Justice S. Vaidyanathan, Judge, Madras High Court, will now honor Honorable Mr. Justice M. Sundaresh, Judge, Supreme Court of India, with a memento. Thank you, my lord. I now request Honorable Mr. Justice R. Mahadevan, Judge, Madras High Court, to honor Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjay V. Gangapurwala, the Honorable Chief Justice of the Madras High Court, with a memento. Thank you, my lord. I now request Mr. P.S. Raman, Senior Advocate, to deliver the felicitation address.
Dignitaries on the dais and distinguished guests on this special morning, I bid you a very good day. A good morning it ought to be, as the spirit of this function is enough to ensure that. And I thank the Tamil Nadu and the Puducherry Legal Services Authority enough for giving me this opportunity to offer my felicitations. As I have mentioned on several occasions in the past, it is once again my duty to recognize that the very formation of the Senior Advocates Forum as an informal group of designated senior advocates of this High Court in 2017 was the brainchild of our dear and respected Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul when he was our Chief Justice. A few years back, the idea of a more structured involvement in legal aid by us was mooted, and under the able coordination of our member through P. Wilson, the Needhi Karangal program was born. And in March 2019, the High Court Committee also recognized it as a body to assist the Legal Services Authority. And we had given a list of about 40 senior advocates at that time. The first brief was given to me by Justice Manikumar, the then chairman of the Legal Services Authority, and it was an habeas corpus petition. Ironically, as the son of one of the arguers in the infamous ADM Jabalpur case, I myself had never done an habeas corpus petition in my life. So I got myself some tuition classes from my friends in the Senior Advocates Forum who are well conversed in that area and did that case. Thereafter, due to the COVID breakdown, there was a lull, but the program of Nidhi Karangal is so fundamentally sound that I was pleasantly informed only this morning by Mr. Wilson that on the recommendations of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Law and Justice, Nidhi Karangal has now been added by the Government of India to their official website, inviting voluntary participation from across India. With the recent designation of several new senior advocates, a couple of months back, the Legal Services Authority approached us once again to provide a fresh list. And I'm proud to announce before all of you today that about 65 senior advocates have now volunteered to do pro bono work. Today's function actually goes beyond pro bono work. It is also to promote and encourage various schemes for poverty alleviation, eradication, and distress alleviation, which have been the cornerstone of our constitutional governance given to us by our founding fathers. To give shape to these ideas, both the central and state governments have put in place a multitude of schemes to achieve the constitutional aspirations. Alas, some of them have not percolated down the ladder, partly due to lack of information. With the enactment of the Legal Services Authorities Act in 1987, a powerful engine to redress grievances has now been put in place. The present endeavor is to achieve convergence of these two ideas. As a first step today, with the active cooperation of the Chief Secretaries of Tamil Nadu and Puducherry government, we have obtained details of all the welfare schemes in vogue in these two states, and they have been compiled as a handbook. We are thankful to the respective government departments for having made available all this valuable information. The handbook of welfare programs that is being released today will provide the eligibility standards, the documents that must be filed along with the application seeking assistance, facilities for uploading them online, making available the modalities for applying, and also details of the district legal services authorities who can be approached to obtain redressers. Needless to state that none of these would have been possible without the very active and able guidance of Justice Vaidyanathan and Justice Mahadevan, who are the executive chairman of the Legal Services Authority of Tamil Nadu and Puducherry, respectively. Likewise, I must also record our appreciation of the efforts taken by my colleagues, Mr. Vijayanarayan, Mr. Kabir, and Mr. Raja, in doing this. After discussing the matter in depth with the members of the forum, we hope to bring out a more comprehensive manual. This manual will, among other things, set out the scheme and its details, all of which need to be deliberated by our members in our next meeting. This is just a sketch of the bare idea, and our forum members, after we debate on this, are hopeful of coming out with something really special. I believe that an initiative of this kind is the first of its kind in India, and if we actually make it a success, I am sure more high courts across India will follow suit. I end with the hope that with the active cooperation of each of you here, we will all do our little bit in achieving the constitutional vision of free legal aid envisioned in Article 39 of the Constitution of India. Thank you all. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. I now request Honorable Mr. Justice R. Mahadevan, Judge, Madras High Court, Executive Chairman, Union Territory of Puducherry Legal Services Authority, to deliver his special address.
அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். I stand before all with great honor and humility as the Executive Chairman of the Union Territory of Puducherry Legal Services Authority on this momentous occasion. The inaugural function of Volunteer Senior Advocates Panel of the Tamil Nadu State Legal Services Authority and the Union Territory of Puducherry Legal Services Authority, besides release of NALSA Legal Services for Differently Abled Children Scheme 2021 and the Directory of Legal Services for Social Welfare Schemes. On this pleasant day, I extend my greetings to Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, Judge Supreme Court of India, and the Executive Chairman of National Legal Services Authority, whose dedication to the cause of justice and relentless efforts to make legal aid accessible to the less privileged are a beacon of hope in our legal system. My greetings to Honorable Mr. Justice M.M. Sundaresh, a distinguished judge of Supreme Court of India, whose legal acumen and dedication to upholding justice have left an indelible mark on our legal fraternity. My greetings to Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjay V. Gangapurwala, Chief Justice of Madras High Court, whose leadership and commitment to the principles of justice are an inspiration to us all. My greetings to brother and sister judges, learned senior advocates, advocates of various bar associations, the law officers of Tamil Nadu and Puducherry, registrars of High Court, staff members, and those who assemble here. The right to access to justice is a fundamental pillar of any fair and equitable society. It is the duty of this institution to ensure that this right is upheld for all, regardless of their financial or social status. Free legal services in India is primarily the mandate of the National Legal Services Authority and the state legal services authorities whose services are rendered all over the country. The Government of India has taken steps in providing pro bono legal services through its schemes launched in April 2017 through the Department of Justice, which is aimed at fulfilling the mandate of enhancing access to justice for marginalized sections of society and the state's constitutional obligation for providing free legal aid for all. Similarly, the government of Puducherry oversees 137 welfare schemes designed to combat poverty and assist the marginalized and vulnerable populations. These initiatives encompass diverse areas ranging from agriculture, women and child development to fisheries, rural development and social welfare. Notable schemes include agricultural subsidies, financial support for brides from impoverished backgrounds, aid for widow remarriage, and assistance for fishermen. Additionally, there are housing and educational incentives for scheduled caste individuals, scholarship for students, and support for differently abled individuals and the elderly, including those affected by HIV and AIDS. These programs underline the government's dedication to enhancing the quality of life for its residents. Today's program is another milestone in the history of legal services. We are inaugurating Volunteer Senior Advocates Panel of Tamil Nadu and Puducherry State Legal Services Authority. Totally, as pointed out by Senior Counsel P.S. Raman, 60 senior advocates have expressed their willingness and have voluntarily come forward to provide pro bono services to the needy people. The panel fostered a sense of trust in our legal institutions and thereby reinforced the idea that everyone, regardless of their background, can seek justice. Further, the learned senior advocates have placed themselves committed to support and expand free legal aid to all the people who are in need of legal assistance so as to build a society where justice truly knows no bounds. So now onwards, the Pondicherry Legal Services Authority will also be benefited by the pro bono services of the learned senior counsels. We have great challenges, responsibilities, and opportunities to serve the society, especially the weaker and marginalized sections. With the able assistance of the pro bono panel advocates, the Legal Services Committee will take the scheme forward and make the journey a meaningful one. I thank the Senior Advocates Forum for their voluntary commitment and for bringing out a Directory of Legal Services for Social Welfare Scheme of Tamil Nadu and Puducherry. Thank you all.
Thank you, my lord. I now request Honorable Mr. Justice S. Vaidyanathan, Judge, Madras High Court, Executive Chairman, Tamil Nadu State Legal Services Authority, to deliver his address.
Dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. Good afternoon. Since the time given to me is short, I am not in a position to name each and every dignitary present here. It is admirable that senior advocates have shown their gesture to do pro bono service in the legal aid matters. When senior advocates voluntarily come forward to do the services, counsel on record may utilize the services by instructing them properly, and counsel on record cannot expect senior advocates to knock at the doors for getting instructions. Earlier, when Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul was the Chief Justice of this court, he ensured that all cases that are pending for more than 10 years should be given preference by listing them on every Wednesday. Likewise, a specific day must be assigned for hearing legal aid matters so that senior advocates can adjust their work and will be prepared to argue the cases before the court. I had discussion with the Chief Secretary of Tamil Nadu and the Commissioner of Labour, who informed me that there are several welfare schemes for labor and public, such as Tamil Nadu Integrated Nutrition Program, Tamil Nadu Marriage Assistance Scheme, Special Nutrition Scheme for Infants, and the like, available in the state of Tamil Nadu. Some of the schemes are funded by central government, and in some cases, state government has the responsibility of funding the same. Wherever the central government is funding the scheme and the amount is not utilized before 31st March, the money would go back to the treasury of the central government. Since public are not aware of those schemes and remain ignorant as to whom to be contacted for getting the benefits, the government must take steps to give wide publicity. There is a state scheme called Overseas Scholarship to pursue postgraduate and research courses to the downtrodden. Since the funds allotted for the said scheme have not been utilized, a writ petition was filed in which notice was ordered by the division bench presided by Justice Abdul Quddus. The authority must identify people and ensure that the benefits reach the correct and genuine persons. They should provide mats for the poor people and they should not try to sleep on that. The State Legal Services Authority is ready to render its assistance for effective implementation of the schemes. I had an occasion to inspect district courts, especially courts dealing with MCOP cases, whereupon it was noticed that compensation awarded to the victims were withdrawn by the advocates themselves and lawyers became the legal representatives of the victim family. It was brought to the attention of our chief guest, the then Chief Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, who immediately constituted a division bench in which I was one of the members presided by Justice Sudhakar, and we passed an order ensuring that the benefits reach the genuine person through bank transfer without any mediators. However, still there is a lacuna in the system, which was noticed by Justice P.N. Prakash and Justice Abdul Quddus. The government officials and lawyers must assist the affected and needy persons to get their benefits, and they shall not think that they are one of the beneficiaries of the scheme. I would like to stress upon young lawyers that charging fees is completely different from sharing compensation of victims. The Tamil Nadu State Legal Services Authority, under the able guidance of the Executive Chairman, NALSA, is taking all possible steps to extend its maximum help to the needy people, and its doors are always open for the affected person to seek justice. As the first steps, Tamil Nadu Legal Services Authority has taken initiative to release NALSA on legal services for differently abled children scheme 2021 in bilingual language, English and Tamil. I am sure that the directory that is going to be released by Senior Advocates Forum will definitely help the needy so as to enable them to approach the appropriate authority for getting redressal. Further, it will also be helpful to the sitting judges for issuing necessary orders to the concerned authority as and when litigation in regard to such schemes are heard by them. I was told that senior advocates are taking steps to publish the directory in Tamil language soon. I wish them all the best for the contribution to help the poor litigants, especially downtrodden. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my lord. I now request Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjay V. Gangapurwala, Chief Justice, Madras High Court, Patron-in-Chief, Tamil Nadu State Legal Services Authority, to deliver his presidential address.
Honorable Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaur, Judge Supreme Court of India and Executive Chairman NALSA. Honorable Justice M.M. Sundaresh, Judge Supreme Court of India. My sister and brother judges, senior advocates, members of my legal fraternity, members of my judicial fraternity, members of my staff, ladies and gentlemen. As a paterfamilias of the Tamil Nadu State Judiciary, I express my gratitude to all the senior advocates who have volunteered for the pro bono work. The pro bono work by the senior advocates would go a long way in providing quality assistance to the needy persons. It is a unique venture taken up by the senior advocates, and I hope and trust that the other high courts would also follow this. We have heard the NALSA song. The theme of the NALSA song, that we also have our rights. Even after 75 years of independence, we have to tell one section of the society that you still also have the rights. The another theme of the NALSA song is that your grievances will be heard and now the courts will come at your doorsteps. The Legal Services Authority is doing the said job. The state of Tamil Nadu is a pioneer in promoting legal aid programs. The Tamil Nadu Legal Aid and Advice Board was constituted in December 1976, long before the enactment of the Legal Services Authorities Act. The districts had the district committees in 1977, and the High Court Legal Aid Center was constituted in July 1983. So this state was conscious of the legal aid required by the section of the society. And even before the implementation of the act, our state was implementing those schemes. I assure the Honorable Executive Chairman that the state of Tamil Nadu is implementing each and every scheme by NALSA, and now the schemes for differently abled persons also be implemented in right earnest. We talk about the providing legal assistance to the persons from the oppressed, suppressed, and depressed class of the society. We have achieved some success, but much more is to be achieved. A mason who constructs best of the palatial building does not have a roof for his family. An agriculturist who grows food for the whole world does not have enough to feed his starving family. A weaver who weaves best of the clothes does not have enough to protect the body of his family members. When this would be eradicated, we will say that the social revolution has taken place and the Legal Services Authority has achieved its object in totality. We are advancing in that direction. We have to do much more work for that. We will strive for it. We have come this far. We have to walk much more ahead. And I hope we will achieve this, and we can achieve this. Thank you, everybody. Thank you once again.
Thank you, my lord. I now request Honorable Mr. Justice M.M. Sundaresh, Judge Supreme Court of India, to deliver his address.
Honorable Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, Chairman NALSA, Honorable the Chief Justice of the Madras High Court, Justice Ganga Purwala, my good friend Vaidyanathan, Justice R. Mahadevan, Justice Jagadish Chandra, Justice Dandabani, Senior Advocate P.S. Raman, my sister and brother judges from the Madras High Court and District Judiciary, senior advocates, members of the staff registry, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. Today is a very happy and joyous occasion. There are two important events. One is on the contribution of the lawyers accepting to represent the needy litigants on behalf of the Legal Services Authority. The second one is with respect to publishing the directory and the scheme for special children. Sri P.S. Raman was touching upon the Constitution, especially Article 39A. Article 39A has to be read with Article 14. Therefore, there has to be a constant endeavor, which are all trying to decipher and expand, to create an egalitarian society. There may not be a perfect society, but the endeavor should be constant. A wealth can be defined in many ways. There may be many facets of wealth. Children can be attributed as wealth, knowledge, character, material possession. Such a wealth will not achieve its purpose unless we learn to share it with others. As birth, death is certain. What is important is to manage the time in between. Life by itself does not have a meaning. But it's an opportunity given to us to make it meaningful. Saint Patinathar has put it beautifully. பிறக்கும் பொழுது கொடு வந்ததில்லை, பிறந்த இம்மண்மேல் இறக்கும் பொழுது கொடு போவதில்லை. You don't bring anything when you are born. When you die, you don't take anything with you. இடைநடுவே குவிக்கும் இச்செல்வம் சிவன் தந்ததென்று அறிய கொடுவறியாது துய்க்கும் குலாமற்கு என் செல்வேன் கட்சி ஏகாம்பனே. The wealth you possess, you cannot take it, but if you do not distribute, it has got no meaning. Knowledge and character are to be acquired and formed. This depends upon the environment in which we live. Equality can only be created when we lift people who lack the adequate knowledge and character. Application of law, which I believe has got an inherent deficiency in its application when we ignore the factors pertaining to knowledge and character. Applying the same law with the men of knowledge and character with a person coming from the grassroots, not knowing the nuance, is not justice. In my view, that itself is an affront to Article 14. And in that way, the contribution of senior lawyers in taking the cases of needy would help the society in a larger way. It has been said that 70 senior lawyers have signed up. I think this is one of a kind, as Chief Justice has mentioned it. I join you in requesting Honorable Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul to make it broad-based, starting with the Supreme Court of India, so that this will be a flagship program for others to emulate. In my 2 years of stint as a judge of the Supreme Court, I must confess that there is something which is lacking there, especially from the senior lawyers. Somebody who comes from this place, I find Supreme Court to be a little bit elitist. All the more reason senior lawyers will render free service. We must not only take justice to the doorstep, but also make sure the schemes of the government, with the assistance of NALSA, reach the person who are in need. I have also seen few of the cases where certain schemes of utmost importance, for example, giving stipends to the students belong to the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe communities, do not even reach them. In certain cases, they are being used for some other purposes. In certain cases, they are not even being used. I only wish and hope such instances will be taken note of, and this forum will take up the cause. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity.
Thank you, my lord. While making laws and formulating welfare schemes and providing for quality legal aid is only half the journey, making them known to those for whom it is intended, that is, the poor, the needy, and the vulnerable, including importantly women and children, especially differently abled children, and assuring their implementation is the more important part. Towards this end, our chief guest, Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, Judge, Supreme Court of India, and Executive Chairman, National Legal Services Authority, New Delhi, will now release the books and deliver his inaugural address. Honorable Mr. Justice M.M. Sundaresh, Judge Supreme Court of India, will receive the first copy. We thank you, my lord. Honorable Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, Judge Supreme Court of India, may now deliver the inaugural address.
Brother M.M. Sundaresh, Chief Justice Gangapurwala, eminent judges on and off the dais, the senior advocates, other advocates, judicial officers, ladies and gentlemen. Kalai Vanakkam. It's a matter of personal great pride for me that the senior advocates of this court acceded to my request that they can collectively do something to expand the horizons of the judicial system, to provide assistance to the court, to provide guidance to the younger lawyers. And that aspect has gone from strength to strength to what we see today in terms of the current program to give assistance. And thus, this Niti Karangal program has the potential of being replicated throughout the country. Madras High Court has been in forefronts of many issues, constitutional, family law matters, in terms of many traditions as a court. And there's no reason why in this issue it should not provide the leadership to the remaining part of the country. Any criminal justice system has three pillars to it: the defense, the prosecution, and a robust judiciary. If either of them fails, the system doesn't work. Some examples came to us recently. Now, so far as the defense system is concerned, there is a great imbalance. People who can afford to get the best of lawyers in justice balance and weigh against a prosecution which may not be of the requisite quality. Therefore, the strengthening of the prosecution system and an independent prosecution system is extremely important, as in most developed countries. Similarly, the legal services authorities' strength is required to give assistance to a section of the society which cannot afford appropriate services of lawyers. And that's why if you see the spectrum across the country, you will find that there's hardly anybody from the more affluent section of society who remains behind bars for long. They are able to get the necessary assistance to get out of it. But large number of people coming from socially and economically backward sections of the society languish in prison. Our prisons are overcrowded. Even post grant of bail, they are not able to avail of the bail. So when this aspect came to notice of the NALSA, that more than 5,000 cases across the country were present where after grant of bail, people had not been released. We tried to find out why and take an initiative for it. It may be because they are not able to meet the conditions of the bail. It may be there's nobody else to give a bond. But unless it is brought to the notice of the particular court, there is no way a redemption can be provided. Therefore, the software now sought to be developed in collaboration with the government at the national level seeks to link the police stations, the courts, and the system in such a manner that if a person who has been granted bail within a period of 7 days is not released, the software will show a blip. That blip will assist the NALSA to ask somebody to legally assist this person to find out why, even after grant of bail, he is not being released. This process has helped us, I think, in release of more than 50% of the people who were in a similar situation. But still, it's a way forward to go ahead with it. Now, the quality of legal assistance which has to be provided is important, as it is said, and this is the initiative taken. Um, the Magna Carta itself stated that to no one will be sold, to no one will be refused or delay the right to justice. How do we implement it? The whole issue is of finding methodologies of implementation in the justice system. I'm a great fan of a structured system because I believe unstructured system somewhere lags behind in giving assistance. Uh, if we see, we create so many laws. Uh, Question is, what is the awareness of the laws at the ground level? We created laws for empowerment of women. Women would not know what the law is. So therefore, the NALSA also plays an important role in educating people about their rights, whether it be criminal system or any other system. NALSA also plays a role in trying to avoid litigation. How does that occur? It occurs because of the paralegals which are there to send them and prevent what can be a smaller dispute into escalating into a larger dispute, whether civil or criminal. We have to understand that there are people living in the social and economic scenario which are difficult in character. Therefore, small things escalating into a bout of dispute has a greater potentiality. If those issues are tackled at that level itself, then the problem of creating into litigation is sorted out. In this endeavor which the senior advocates are making, I do believe one method is which has been proposed is that there must be designated days when these matters are taken up. Otherwise, if the matter comes and goes and repeatedly is adjourned, the very force of what is sought to be done will be lost. So it can be like we've tried earlier of older cases being taken up on a day. There can be a day or time earmarked in a day, maybe half day, to see that where such pro bono cases are to be taken up. I'm told there may be about 600 such cases. Uh, the senior advocate knows that this is going to be taken up and it will shall be taken up. Adjournment culture declined in such cases because if we permit that to happen from the other side, the senior advocate, verily we believe it or not, will lose interest in what is being done. Um, Mr. Raman referred to this aspect of the pioneering effort being done. Well, we have to make it meaningful. If 60 odd senior advocates want to help out and there are 600 cases, we are talking in terms of 10 cases per senior advocate. And in a structured manner, the court takes it, and the court has equal responsibility to the judges to provide an impetus to it. It can then become a model really across the country to say, look, this is how it has been achieved here, not only on paper, but on a practical plane. And that is why it is capable of being replicated. One of the aspects which was released was the regarding the NALSA scheme for differently abled children, which was introduced in 2021. And it represents a significant milestone in ensuring equal justice for children with special needs. This scheme is a testament to India's commitment to protecting the rights and well being of its most vulnerable citizens. Children and with special needs is a category by itself. Under the NALSA scheme, legal aid and support services are extended to these differently able children, recognizing that they often face unique challenges in access to their legal rights and entitlements. It aims to facilitate their participation in a society by addressing issues such as discrimination, abuse, neglect, and access to education and healthcare, by providing specialized legal assistance and advocacy. So NALSA scheme not only empowers differently able children, but also fosters a more inclusive and just society where every child can thrive and realize the full potential. We have found that at times our education system is slow to accept people with special needs and special talents. There are people with some physical disabilities. There are other people who are mentally made in a different way. I call it. They may be different from a other child, but the education has to be inclusive. In that inclusive system, we have to help them grow with the others, and for the others to realize that well, they just happen to be a little different, and they may have some expertise which is far better than the other children who are there. So the growth together with the society is important. It's not creating separate institutions alone for them, which can help in this process. Um, we are we have something to be proud about, and that I say because I think the world we would possibly be the number one in terms of creating access to justice. We are, of course, a very large population and large population needing justice, but we are actually pioneers in the field of providing legal aid. If you look to many other countries who look to India for inputs from you look to the African areas, you look to other areas, they actually want to study what kind of a system we are providing and to emulate some of them. It is towards this objective that we hope to have international get together of people, especially from Africa and Southeast Asia, towards the end of November, and showcase what we are doing, learn from the others, and at the same time impart our knowledge to them. Because this challenge is not only confined to our country, it extends to a large part of the globe, which is not seen the development and which requires rights to be recognized. Uh, the legal aid itself has become a vast program for where it started, from only providing assistance to some court cases. It has expanded into huge amount of pre-litigation settlements of different kinds, of pre-litigation advice, of paralegal advice, depending on the local laws. Sometimes there are areas where they have their own peculiar norms and issues. And I think this focus has been something which we should be proud of. And my secretary Santosh Naiman, who has been working tirelessly on these issues, goes from one aspect to the other to keep me occupied, to make sure that I devote enough time to it, to so that we keep a focus on it. Brother Sundaresh mentioned that legal profession is certainly an avenue to make your bread butter and jam possibly, but it is also a service in some ways. That service is for the lesser able people. Uh, that cannot be forgotten in the success story of lawyers, which profession itself is very skewed in its character. There is a very smaller section at the top in the next level. There's a large section of lawyers also, um, where much is to be done, and that's why we keep encouraging seniors to take on some of the juniors for guidance. I remember in one of the proceedings where I had issued notice of contempt uh, to somebody who had interfered with the justice system. I found there were two young lawyers, barely a year old in the profession. So the senior who appeared for them, I said, "You put them in your chambers. That's the way to do it, and I'll monitor it for 6 months and then come back and let us see how you have guided them to be able to reach where they are, because they need guidance. Sometimes they may not know, or it's maybe desperation of a situation to be able to stay in a metropolitan town like Chennai after education coming from a village itself is a challenge. So these are also aspects. Since I'm here, I appeal to the senior advocates: take on a couple of people with you as a part of social service. Guide them, build those lawyers who come from not so fortunate circumstances, but have taken the courage to get into the legal profession. And that's, I think, one area where I'm just flagging this issue for the senior advocates to think about another area where they can get into. But I compliment them on the effort they've made here. I'm hopeful this will be a model for the remaining part of the country. I'm sure the Secretary Nalsa will look into it to see that we propagate it appropriately and circulate it appropriately to the Chief Justices of the different high courts to tell them what Madras High Court is doing and the senior advocates are doing, and to emulate the same example in other states. Wish you all the best. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to what possibly would be my last function in office here in Chennai. But that doesn't mean I don't stop coming to Chennai. I will always be there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my lord. Honorable Mr. Justice M. Dandapani, Judge, Madras High Court, Committee Judge, Tamil Nadu State Legal Services Authority, will now propose the vote of thanks.
அனைவருக்கும் நன்றி கலந்த மதிய வணக்கம். I stand here before you today for proposing the vote of thanks for dignitaries who have graced the occasion. It would not be out of context for me to state that the present Honorable Executive Chairman of National Legal Service Authority, who was our patron-in-chief then, was instrumental in bringing scores of reforms and security measures, and in fact is the iron man of this High Court, through whose efforts the High Court progressed in many ways. I place on record my sincere gratitude for all the efforts put in by our beloved Chief Justice then, the Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, whose efforts has given us a secured campus. I thank His Lordship for gracing the occasion with his presence in spite of His Lordship demanding duties at Supreme Court for releasing the various schemes. Honorable Mr. Justice Yamam Sundaresh requires no introduction to our bar and members of the legal fraternity. His Lordship, known for his humbleness and modesty, has showered his love and affection towards his brother and sister judges, who has also found time to grace this occasion in spite of his busy schedule. I thank His Lordship for participating in this occasion. The efforts taken by our Honorable Chief Justice with the fullest coordination from Honorable Mr. J.S. Vaidyanathan and Honorable Justice R. Mahadevan and committee judges is really immeasurable. I would be failing in my duty if I do not make a mention about the voluntary act of senior advocates who have given their consent to form a panel for the purpose of extending the service to the Legal Service Authority. I thank the senior advocates who have come forward for the social objective and their unwavering support, who has been instrumental in our growth and development. Finally, I would like to thank my esteemed brother and sister judges, Learned Advocate General, Law Officer, State and Central, Judicial Officer, Registrar, staff of this court, making this event grand success. In conclusion, I would like to say that this event would not have been possible without the support and hard work for each and every one of you. On behalf of the judicial fraternity, I would like to express my sincere thanks to all of you, including press and media. Thank you.